The prerequisite for prosperity is public safety, and we are happy to have here the person in charge of public safety in the city of New York, Police Commissioner Bill Bratton.
Good morning. 20 years ago on this day, I had my first opportunity to appear at this event as the then newly appointed police commissioner for New York City. It was a very different time 20 years ago from the days of 2014. Brooklyn, where we are so honored to be appearing this morning, was a very different place. You look at the changes, the positive changes. Martin Luther King would not have believed how much things had changed. Like many of the speakers before you this morning, I have a favorite Martin Luther King quote that I'd like to share with you, and it will frame my very brief remarks before Mayor Bill de Blasio comes before you. And this quote, this section of it, was written while he was in jail in Birmingham. He had come from Atlanta to participate in the demonstrations in Birmingham, the very brutal police repression of people of color in that city, with the fire hoses and the dogs and all the violence directed against them as they fought for their civil rights. And in that jail cell he wrote, "I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly." Mr. King clearly understood that in this country, in the greatest democracy the world has ever known, that what this democracy promises clearly was not being delivered to people of color. Our democracy is based first and foremost on public safety. Without it, all the other pillars of education, freedom of speech, health care, all those pillars are on an infirm foundation, a foundation that is shaky. Mayor Bill de Blasio and I, as your newly appointed police commissioner, are committed to living up to the ideals of democracy as Mr. King understood them, that they have to apply to everybody, not to some of the time, but to all of the time. We are in very interesting times. Crime is down dramatically, fortunately. But for so many in this city, it has come not with a benefit, but at a cost. And certainly in many of the communities of color, many of you in this audience don't feel that all that should have come about with that reduction in crime, the benefits, are not shared by all. And Martin Luther King understood that if all did not feel the benefit, then we needed to work harder to make sure that they would. So to that end, Mayor Bill de Blasio, who will be on just after I get done, we have committed to the idea of reform of the issue of stop, question, and frisk that was felt by so many, particularly in communities of color, to have been unfairly applied in excess numbers. The mayor and I are committed to constitutional policing, that you cannot break the law to enforce it. We are committed to respectful policing. You get what you give. And we are committed to compassionate policing. All these are the ideals of Martin Luther King that he strived for and that he ultimately gave his life for. It will not be easy. Things worth having are never easy to achieve. He understood that. But he was the embodiment of, if you wanted to create change, you must become the change. I am committed to the dream of Mayor de Blasio that we can, in fact, have change that benefits everybody in the city of New York. And as police commissioner of this great department, your police department, we will work together. We will work seamlessly so that there are no loose threads that threaten to unbind the garment that Martin Luther King talked about. Thank you so much.